What's up guys, my name is Ace Cosplay and today I'm going to be taking you through my very first Stormtrooper Armour kit build. Now I do have two sets of Stormtrooper Armour, as those of you who follow me will know. That one there's my original one, and I've got a Shepton Design Studios armour, but those armours were sent to me fully completed with just a few modifications that need to be done. So now I'm actually going to be doing my first ever full kit armour build, which I'm quite excited about. And when that's all done, I'm going to turn it into a project that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but you guys will get to see that when it's completed. But now I'm just going to take you through building this entire armour from scratch, and come with me on this journey because I'm actually quite excited to build my very first set of TK armour. This is the FX Stormtrooper Armour kit. This was kindly sent to me by my friend AJ, who let me buy it off him for a really good price, so thank you very much for that. This is absolutely awesome. And as you can see, it's a kit that's already been trimmed down, so not a lot of clean-up work has to be done. Some kits you'll get, it's literally just raw from the vacuum forming machine, so you'd have to cut out like all the holes around the legs, all the bits in like the eyes there. I will still have to cut out parts of the teeth, or just all the parts around the side, so you get all the nice clean edges on there. Thankfully you don't have to do a lot on this, but there will be a little bit more cleanup. So these are the most of the parts here. I'm missing a few bits, but AJ's being awesome and getting the extra parts for me. So for starters, I'm going to put together sort of the main joins of the legs today. So I'm starting from the bottom and working the way up to the top. So if there is anything that needs to be worked out, then if I do something wrong down the bottom, it's not going to be seen as much as on the top. So here I've got some of the calf pieces, so you've got 4 all together. FX armour doesn't have a left and right, so it's a case of finding the sides that match up. And you'd want to stick the front part together and leave the back part unstuck so you can add in Velcro later. The glue that I'm going to be using to put the armour together is some PVC pipe weld. I have done a little test of this on some cut-offs and it does stick rather well. If there's different brands near you that are available, do give them a test before you put them on your armour. So glue like this, it does stick in about 5 minutes but takes 24 hours to cure. So to put the leg pieces together, ideally you want it so when you've got the one side of the leg on top of the other, you want the seam, so this bit here where it overlaps, to be facing inwards, so it's less noticeable than if it were the other way around, because obviously you've got that little bit of a gap that would be noticeable on the side. So just take a really fine bit of sandpaper and just go over the edges that you want to glue together. Make sure that they're clear of dust. Add a small layer of glue to one side and obviously on the inside of here. Put it together, and then you can either use some large rubber bands, or I've got some clamps I'm going to put on the edges just to hold it all down. And I'm going to add a little bit of foam in between the clamps as well, just so they don't mark the armour when they're being held together, because PVC pipe weld, it acts as a cement, so it sort of melts the plastic a little bit to get to stick. So obviously you don't want the shape of the clamp to melt through onto your armour part. Okay, so these armour pieces have been left overnight, so I'm going to take off the rubber bands, take off the clamps, and see how well the glue is actually held up. So this is the leg that's come out the best. See, there's a nice smooth line on there, and the glue is holding up pretty well. Obviously I don't want to pull it too much, because even with strong glue, if you pull the armour too much, it's going to break. Remember, it's only thin plastic. See on the back here, one of the sides has actually got a little ridge, and the other one doesn't, so that's the one that you want to overlap to put your Velcro on, so obviously you can take it on and off with ease. Some of the others I just need to put a little bit extra glue just on the bottom there where there wasn't just quite enough, but at the top it's still quite solid. As you can see on these ones, it's going to be a case of when it's all glued down, just trim it and just make sure it's all nice and even on both the top and the bottom edges. But apart from that, all seems to be going together quite well. So let's continue with sticking these parts together. Okay, so for the legs, I found the easiest way to glue it was just doing like a little bit on one side and then slowly working your way up. But for the arms, because obviously they're that bit smaller, that you can just glue along the whole edge and then just stick it together. Just again, I'm rubber banding the middle to make sure it stays and clamping both ends. So the join is still quite close to the body. On some of the leg ones, it's a little bit further apart in the middle. That's why it's a bit better to do glue than like glue the whole thing and clamp it. But obviously this is a learning experience for me. This is the first actual kit armour I've put together, and it's really quite enjoyable, even though the smell of glue is quite strong, so always have a window open. It's just a big waiting game. Obviously whilst waiting for those to dry, just going to be sorting out some of the parts that are going to need to be riveted together, like the belt and the helmet. And down here you can see a couple of extras. These are Chelsea boots that I got from a local shoe zone store. So do you recognise these are very similar to what original Stormtroopers would wear, but obviously these are black, so we'll need to get a special kind of paint so it will flex and not flake off so much on the black leather. So Dad's helping me out with some of the riveting. So we've just done the belt. Putting 2 rivets on it rather than 1, that would be being able to hidden by the little detail bit you've got on there, just so it's a lot stronger and you don't have to worry about that one little bit breaking. And so, whilst I'm still waiting for the glue to dry on some of the leg pieces, I'm going to rivet together some parts of the helmet. Now the helmet that comes with this kit is the FX helmet. It comes in 3 parts. So you've got the back, and you've got, see, the face, and this is the top of the helmet. So he's going to have to rivet all these parts together. And the joins at the side are hidden by the ear pieces. Obviously this is just a flat one, hasn't got the little decorating bit on it. This kit does come with all the little bits and bobs, like the bits on the side. There's a little decorative piece for the chin, lenses, as well as some stickers. The only thing it didn't come with was aerators and a strip for the brow at the front. So you can get most of the helmet done without ordering any extras. I did get sent 2 face plates as well, so I've got a choice of see which one's slightly better that I can use, and obviously if things don't work then I've got a spare. But while I'm having a lesson on riveting, might as well get the rivets done that need to be done, and then it's a case of glue for most of the rest of the parts. Glue and Velcro is what holds together Stormtrooper armour, so it's not as hard as it first seems. It's obviously just getting the right glue. So for the moment the back of the helmet is tacked onto the top using super glue. Because this is a 3-part helmet, you can see there's sort of definite line there, but that's no big deal. So the corners can still be riveted for a bit of extra strength, but the super glue's pretty strong, so it should hold it fine, especially when just trying to figure out obviously where to put all the parts in relation to each other. But first we've got to cut out the front of the mouth in the helmet piece. Because 1, it just looks better when you have a bit more depth to it, and 2, it's just good for ventilation. It just means it stops the lenses from steaming up so much. I mean, lenses do steam up in helmets a lot unless you put like washing up liquid in it, or if you have some decent helmet fans, but it just helps a little bit more, especially in hot convention halls. So just got some bits of the Dremel, we'll cut that out and then try and stick the rest of it together. So this is fun. I like building kits. And I've got some of the parts that came with it, like this is what they're going to use for a lens. This is a smoky grey piece of acrylic. Stormtrooper lenses are normally a dark green, but we'll just go for that for now. And there's also the stickers that come with it in here. So the only thing that'll be missing are the aerators and the front of the brow. So I've just taped on the front of the helmet quickly just to make sure it sits all right with the back piece. And yeah, it all looks pretty good. So I'm just going to glue it in place rather than rivet it in place. And hopefully that means the base of the helmet will be done. So these two screws here are just for detail, because on Stormtrooper buckets they have these two screws here. But the way that this helmet's put together, the actual screws that are going to attach it are going to be in here, hiding underneath the little detail piece. So I've just bolted them in the back, and I'm going to cut off the excess. Obviously they fit onto the helmet and it doesn't poke out. This one here will actually be attaching it to the bottom, so I don't need to do it to that one. So this is the completed helmet base, all glued and screwed together. Like I said, these two screws will be covered with this, where's it gone? This little earpiece there, so then you've just got the detail screws, because that's what the originals had, so I thought I'd add it just to, you know, give it a little bit of something extra. It will be painted white to blend in that bit more though. So this bucket is really, really roomy and really big, so I do intend to pad it out a lot on the inside and put like a lot of little details in this one compared to my Shepperton one. But from here it's a case of just getting the rest of the details on. So you want the brow, the little piece on the chin I'm not going to put on mine because for my personal project it's going to be, someone's going to be covering that, so there's no point in putting that on there. Aerators, and then put all the stickers and the lenses in, and you've got pretty much the helmet done, obviously, apart from what I'm going to do on the inside. Okay, so now we've got the leg pieces mostly stuck together. Today we're going to work on actually getting the Velcro attached to them, getting the knee plates attached, and just cutting out the bits so they're all shaped and ready to go. Once I get some poppers arriving, I'll be able to sort out the strapping system for the stomach, and I can start working on the all the Velcro attachments as well. So hopefully we are definitely well on our way there to having a completed TK. I'm currently sporting some black leggings and the Chelsea boots, so I can work out, you know, how the leg pieces are going to fit over the boots and any modifications that need to be done. So the back of the shoes have these little tab bits in order for you to, you know, grab it and be able to slip your foot on, but not really necessary because these are just that little bit wide at the ankle. It's easy to get them on and off, and this will just get in the way of the leg armour, so I'm just going to cut these off of both shoes. So there's now heavy duty Velcro on the inside of the leg pieces. If you want to make that less seamless, you can use white heavy duty Velcro, but I've just got the black stuff, and with the product I'm going to turn it into, it's not going to be as noticeable as it will do on a nice shiny white TK. Obviously, because the parts don't line up and I'm a bit shorter, so I need some more knee space to bend, I've just marked out where I'm going to cut the top off of the legs on both sides, and I'm also going to do the same for the bottom of the thigh pieces as well. I'm going to do this first and obviously figure out how to get it to sit nicely before I work on the legs, so they should both match up. And obviously the bits on the front also need to be cleaned up and rounded off as well. Okay, so I've crudely marked out where I need to overlap the back so it fits my leg, because otherwise these are really big for my thighs and you really don't want just your armour to be wobbling around and look like it doesn't fit you. So for some reason that one doesn't need to be as big of an overlap as this one. I think it's probably because of the way I've stuck the armour parts together, and they're probably not even. No Stormtrooper armour is ever even, so I've crudely marked out on here where to put it. So do the same as we've done before, just Velcro it together and then cut off all the excess where needed. See, this one's going to have to be cut out a little bit more at the back. I'll try and match up as much as I can with that one over there. So we'll see how that turns out. So the Velcro for the backs of the legs, for one of the legs just wasn't working very well at all. So I've decided instead to go ahead and actually just weld it together with the glue. Obviously making sure that when they're in the places that I want them to be, I can still get my leg in, because that will be the only way I'll be able to get it on once it's glued. So I've glued one of the edges down on both of them just so the seams match up, and then I'll glue along the rest of it once that's dry. But now I can't do any more work on the legs whilst I'm waiting for that to dry. I'm going to move on to the helmet. Now for this helmet I'm actually going to paint the inside of it black, and I've got a load of chalkboard paint left over from when I weathered my Shepperton set, so I'm just going to use that to paint the inside of this so it will dry matte and it sticks really well to the plastic. Right, so in there now is 3 layers of the chalkboard paint. It's still drying a little bit, but that's actually worked quite well. It's got good coverage, made sure nothing's bled out the front or in any of the seams. So I can then decorate the inside of that once it's dry, and I just need some enamel paint of the right colour to colour in the teeth and the decorative bits on the ears, and then all that's really left to do is stick on the stickers and put the rest of the parts on. So helmet's nearly done, which is pretty cool. So I'm just figuring out how to pad everything on the inside. None of this is stuck in yet, it's just in temporarily. So I'm going to glue this in, so having it like this, it makes it sit on my head comfortably and tightly enough that it's not going to wobble around too much when I move. So I'm going to cover it in a little bit of a black fabric so it's not just bright blue sponge, and then then work on some more insidey details. So the helmet is now finished, apart from obviously the chin piece and this aerator here, because stuff I'm going to use to customise it means you're not going to see those anyway, so there's no point in me putting those there. But the other aerator's in there, so it's been screwed in from the back, and the screw's also been glued in to make sure it doesn't come off, so it's just down there easily. Tube stripes. This sticker here that came with it is like too small for the indent, but I'm just going to leave that as it is. So the lenses have been super glued in, so they shouldn't come out. The frown's been painted, and on the inside you can just see there's a little bit of gauze that I've sprayed black just to cover the holes up a little bit more. See, the brow's now on as well. The ears are now on, covering those two other screws, and these screws are painted white to match those detailing of the original helmets. And on the inside you can see the black padding there, and there's the gauze to cover the mouth. So we are back today, and we are going to do the main straps for the body pieces, try and get it to a point where I can wear most of it and see how it's all going to fit as one unit. But before we do that, I'm going to drill the holes in the belly plate where the studs are actually going to attach, and I've got a nice cheap alternative to trying to look for belly studs online. Little push pins. Obviously they will be painted with an enamel paint to match the colour of the proper screen accurate one. So hopefully it's going to work. So I'm just going to drill through it with the Dremel, and then I'm just going to leave them off for now, paint them, and then once they're dry they'll be probably hot glued into the back, and that should keep them on there quite nicely. So this is one of the spare straps that came from my Shepherding armour, so I'm making two more of these to attach the front and the back belly and kidney plates together. I'm just using this as reference, so I've got some thicker elastic here, as well as some of the softer velcro sides, and I'm going to use a sewing machine to stitch them together, and hopefully they'll come out fairly well. Now I figured out this bit, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do those two bits, and obviously do the shoulder straps to keep everything sort of in the right place. So these are the push fasteners now attached to the armour here down the bottom. Obviously it's the flat sides that go in the plastic, so it actually makes it easier to glue together. And I'll have the other sides will obviously attach to some elastic to go on the straps. So there's a couple more bits that need to go on, like on the front here, two more will have to go on like here and here for the legs. But I'm going to figure all that out when I've got the attachments for putting this bit and this bit together. So before I stick any more of these little push fasteners on for the legs, I'm now going to stick the belly studs on. Those are the little thumbtacks I've painted with enamel, and they have now dried, so we're just going to feed them through the holes that I've already drilled and use some hot glue to keep them in place. Okay, so overnight a few of the little attachments have been drying, so I use obviously the PVC glue and a bit of hot glue to stick them together, so I want to make sure they hold when trooping. So this is what we've got so far that's actually wearable. So we've got the stomach, kidney, butt and the thighs are all strapped on. Ignore the really awkward Velcro shoes that I just use for working in the shed. Cheap and they work. So yeah, it's comfortable so far. I can walk about in it, there's no issues. But now I'm waiting for some other bits to dry, and I'm going to attach the final little popper things to like the arms and stuff, so you still need a trim. So whilst that is drying, I'm gonna trim up the rest of the pieces I can. So purely for like the body and the chest piece. Ooh, that's dark. Just round out some of the corners so they're not so sharp, so you don't catch yourself on them when they're trooping. Round out the backs of the legs, so I still need to match up the lines. That's for the bottom legs and for the top. And then when that's all done, then I can probably figure out where the knee plates are going to go. And then apart from the shoes, that will be the entire sort of lower section done. So, oh, that's exciting. And then it'll be moving on to the belt. And then once the attachments are dry, then I'll sort out the chest piece and the arms. So shouldn't take us too long now, and we can get the main base of the TK done. Now the chest piece is worked out, I can attach the shoulder bells and the bicep pieces on. So I've just made these straps. I've done 2 of these with 3 little attachments. So there's one which goes under here. It's like a little popper bit. It's the same attachment that I've done for the inside of here. And one for the inside of the bicep pieces. So the 2 bits that are obviously close to each other go under the shoulder, onto the shoulder bell, and then the last one adds the bicep piece and it holds it all together. And then the last bit that will be needed is a strap to go around the shoulder bell, so when you're moving it doesn't like flap outwards. So all the attachments are in place. I think the glue's dried and everything now. So I'm going to give it its first full complete test wear and see how this looks. just for some stuff like one of the legs sits higher than the other, but that's because I don't actually really have very slim legs like up top. So I think just a running machine will fix that, but the rest of it seems pretty alright. Obviously I still haven't painted the shoes, so that was a bit odd having the black shoes, but it's quite well. It's nice and tight in the areas I want it to be sort of tight. The welds catch a little bit, but the only one thing that I'm not sure how to fix is the butt sticks out a bit. But I don't know how noticeable that is or not, so obviously depending on sort of the rest of the modifications I do to this, that may change, but yeah, for now I am more than happy with that. So now we're on the last stretch of making the Stormtrooper armour kit. I've done a few tweaks to the armour that I wasn't happy with since doing the last test. I actually haven't worked on this for a little while, but I'm just coming back to finish off the last bit, which is to do the shoes. And for this I've got some Angelus white acrylic leather paint. This was recommended by some of the guys in a Facebook group that I'm part of called The Shed, and they obviously know about stuff with Stormtrooper armour. And I've got some acetone, just try and take the shiny finish off the leather with the boots and then go over it with this. If it's not perfect, doesn't really matter, because as I said before, I'm going to be modifying this into something that's a little bit more battle worn in the future. But for now we're going to see how it goes, and then we're going to do one last fit together and that will be it. Oh, the home stretch, here we go. So this is the finished paint on the boot. There's about 6 or 7 layers on here. I kind of lost count of the paint on there. It's a bit tacky still, but it seems to have gone on really, really well. And how well it sort of lasts when you're trooping obviously remains to be seen, but I think they're going to do quite nicely. So now I can put on the armour and see how it all looks completely finished. So that's the end of the TK kit build. Now it will be on to modifying this, but that'll be in its separate video. This has been quite a fun but also slightly frustrating build. Some of the parts of the kit aren't fabulous, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to sort of just dress it all anyway. But with that being said, you have to wait till next time. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. So leave a like and whatever if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. May the force be with you.